Welcome back, everyone. May I kindly ask you to take your seats, please? And we'll close this door in a little bit, I guess. I would almost do it, but I'll just stay here. Yes. Welcome back, everyone. And to our online audience, a warm welcome to you too. If you just tuned in, we had already a very elevating morning session. And now, this afternoon program, we're going to start, and we have so much more pressing topics to talk about. So let me first ask, how was lunch? Fine, I hear. Great. Yeah? Okay, super. Okay, it's very important for us. All right, so our next session could fill up a day, so I'm going to kick things off immediately. And we're going to discuss how cities and regions can advance affordable housing solutions. And let's just kick things off because the DG Regio's director, Mrkela de Mrkela, mentioned this morning the following. He said, affordable housing is currently high on the Commission's agenda. And he also mentioned cohesion policy will continue supporting the member states and regions in delivering fair and future-proof housing. And this third session is also divided, again, if you were here this morning, divided into three parts. And firstly, we're going to hear a presentation on European policy level from the European Commission, DG ENER, on initiatives such as the Affordable Housing Plan. And the second part, we're going to go from policy to action. And we invited 3 EU-funded initiatives that take action on the ground. And each speaker will give us a short elevator pitch of about 2 minutes. I know it's short, but about their project and also what are the success stories and lessons learned. And thirdly, it will be followed by our panel discussion where we obviously open the floor again to you and to our online audience if you have any lingering questions. So feel free to speak up, I would say. And for the people here in the room, same thing for you. If you wish to speak or have any questions, we have microphones here. And then we can kindly ask you to stand up. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to introduce you to our speakers, and they're going to be seated here with us. So let me start off with the first from an EU policy perspective. We have Tatiana Marquez Uriarte, and she's team leader at the Task Force on Affordable Housing at DG ENER. Please give her an applause. Welcome. If I can ask you, yes, thank you. And then we have 3 local success stories. And firstly, we have Aleš Mrkela, and he's head of Cross-Border Programs Management Division and Interact and Financial Mechanism Office at the Ministry of Cohesion and Regional Development of Slovenia. Welcome. And he's responsible for the project 0500. So just so you know. And thirdly, we have Kaspar Alev. He is head of housing policy at the Ministry of Climate of Estonia. And what they do is the EE program on affordable housing, which is funded partially by the ERDF, the European Regional Development Fund. Please give him a loud applause. There he is from the back. Welcome. And lastly, we have Riccardo Coletta, and he's a senior project officer at Italian APRE, and they are the agency for the promotion of European research responsible for the project called Super Shine. Yeah, all right. Please give an applause. Thank you. Well, welcome, first of all. Tatiana, welcome to you too. We're very excited actually to hear firstly from you with a policy presentation on the housing plan. So I would like to actually give you the floor, I don't know, here at the lectern, and there's the clicker.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you all for being here. I want to quickly start my presentation because I have been asked to speak for 10 minutes, not more. And I think we can make it. We are a very, very recent and young task force in the Commission. We were created in just this February 2025. And basically this means that until now, the Commission, the European Commission, was dealing with housing in a very marginal way. We didn't have a proper service talking or looking into housing issues. It was touched upon in different policies, like for instance the regional policy, but it didn't have a specific service to deal with this. The reason why we care now about housing, you all know, because you are all citizens and you have, I hope not, but many of you have relatives that have difficulties in accessing affordable housing, either on rent or to buy. And this is something that is very much felt by the European citizens. We just got the answers of the last Eurobarometer on the concerns of European citizens, and the affordability of housing is very much at the top of them. So this is what has made, at the beginning of the mandate of President von der Leyen, to decide on the first hand to appoint for the first time a housing commissioner, who is also the Commissioner for Energy, Dan Jorgensen, and to create a specific service within DG Energy dedicated to look into housing issues across Europe. What we do is something, well, maybe I just pass to the next one. What we do is to complement what member states they do, either at regional, or national, or city level. We are not replacing the very important work that is being done by the member states. Member states remain the main force behind providing affordable and social housing for the citizens. And what we try to do is to help them in the national housing strategies, in their efforts to build an affordable and social housing policy. The aim that we have is very much to focus on providing more affordable and social housing, but also housing that is sustainable. So we mean by sustainable, it goes beyond energy efficiency or energy performance of housing. Probably we have to define it, but it should include also some sustainability aspects like recyclability or recycled content of construction materials. And we also care about having more affordable and social housing that is decent or of a certain quality. And this is a very general word, again, where we can encompass many things, like, for instance, making the buildings accessible to people that have disabilities, or having a certain aesthetic in the building. So basically, the fact that it's a social or affordable house doesn't need to be that. Doesn't need to mean that your house is horrible. You need to build a place where people can feel well inside. The objective, the very short-term objective that we have, is to come up with a European affordable housing action plan early next year. What we are doing this year, 2025, is very much working with different stakeholders, with member states, with the European Parliament. The European Parliament, for instance, has created a specific special committee to deal with housing, to deal with the housing crisis. And we are listening everything and trying to learn, because, as I said, we are not still experts. We are becoming experts on housing issues. Try to learn to identify where the problems are, what are the common problems in different member states, and also to start identifying possible solutions that can come from the European level, but also from the national level. We believe very much also in the exchange of good examples between member states, very much what has been done for decades in the cohesion policy. And we would like that also more and more regions and cities, they learn from each other, also on how to handle affordable housing provision. This is our team. We are just 25 members, or around 25 members. I already mentioned that we are under the direct supervision of Commissioner Dan Jorgensen. Yeah. And this is a little bit to explain some of the figures that you have seen in the first slide. just to say that in real terms, the housing prices have increased in the last 10 years by 20%, that we have had also a very high increase of the rents across Europe, that construction costs have increased in about 25% in that 10 years, and that the permitting, so the permits for construction, for new construction, has very much decreased, in some places even by half. What we see is that while in the last 2 years there has been a little decrease on the housing price to income ratio, which is the measure, that the unit that we use to compare the price of the housing cost against the income that we have, the average income of households. Although it has decreased in the last years, as I was explaining, in the last 10 years we have seen a net increase. Again, another slides to illustrate how the rentals have, the price of the rent has increased. And this is a very good, a very interesting slide, not because the data are very accurate. We are working with Eurostat to improve the data country by country, but because it gives you the message that very often the housing crisis is concentrated in some areas within the same state. So it's not that you have a housing crisis in every single member state, but in some cities, in some specific economic growth areas or regions, in some countries, you have a very high problem. Whereas you also have regions in the different member states which are even depopulated, and the problems are others, but maybe not so much the housing prices. So cities, I will pass this slide, cities are particularly important because they are at the forefront of providing the citizens with affordable and social housing, but also because they are the ones that suffer more the problem of high housing prices. This is just to refer to the construction. Yeah, let me go a little bit more in detail of what are the work streams that we do in the task force. What are we looking at? Basically, we have two big teams, policy teams. One is concentrating on supply of houses, and the other one is concentrated on the demand. We see in these years that the demand of affordable housing is much higher than the supply that we have. And this is what is making the prices going up again. So if we look at the supply, the type of issues that we are looking at as possible solutions or avenues of solutions for the affordable housing crisis is, for instance, how to make construction costs lower, how to bring them down. They have increased in 25% in the last 10 years. How we can do it? Well, we are looking at technology advance. We are looking at prefabricated elements in the houses so that they could be built on chain at lower prices. Of course, we are looking also at issues like digitalizing the permit procedures so that it's easier for a builder or for someone who wants to do a renovation to get the permit and at lower cost. We're talking about labor shortages. So these are a little bit the different issues that we very much take care now. And here, yes, I would like to tell you that we are very interested not only on new houses, but also on renovation and repurposing of existing buildings. The answer is not always to build more, but also to renovate more. Regarding the other issue, the demand, here where we are trying is to increase the amount of social and affordable housing. In the last years, we have seen that many member states have started to care less about this issue. They have left it to the market to come up with sufficient supply of affordable housing. But we have seen that there has been a market failure or a policy failure, and this has been abandoned. So our objective is really to start increasing this. We are looking at financialization, so how housing is being used by some institutional investors as an asset and not as a roof. So to what extent this is increasing the price of houses? This is one of the things that we try to assess in our work. We are also interested, very dear to the heart of my commissioner, topics like homelessness or students' accommodation. We are seeing increasingly problems in countries like the Netherlands, for instance, big university cities, to give accommodation to the amount of students they have. We are working on the financing, and especially with the EIB, but also with national promotional banks and private banks, to make easier the project promoters have access to finance. And we have already announced that we are working to create a pan-European financing platform. And then I wanted just to finish on saying that there is very close relationship between energy efficiency, housing, and regional policy. It's very close because the more houses we build or we renovate, as we have minimum energy performance standards for building, it means that our overall performance standards for the whole housing stock will improve. This is why we have, in the Commission, we have proposed to revise the Cohesion Policy Fund regulation, this so-called midterm review, to allow that member state could reprogram their plans and include affordable housing within the possible investments that they can make, concretely under objectives 2, 4, and 5. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I just wanted to say something. We had a first meeting with managing authorities on the 21st of May to tell them that we wanted, to push them, that we wanted to use this opportunity of including or using the available money still under their existing envelope for affordable housing. And this has advantages. It's 100% co-financing and a 30% of pre-financing. So we told them that this is a good opportunity now to bring about reality the projects on affordable and social housing they may have in the drawer. And we have also tell them that we remain ready to help them in how to do this. If they need further assistance, we are working hand in hand, the Uriarte and the task force, to make sure that they can achieve these objectives. Many thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Please give her an applause. Thank you, Tatiana, for this introduction and the latest update. I know we can talk about this for a whole day, can we? Yeah. No, it's all good. I want to go to you. Open the floor. Are there any questions on the affordable housing plan for Tatiana, DG ENER? And the same thing for you in our online audience. If you have any questions, please let us know. And just to let you know, again, there is a little bit of a delay with our live stream. There is one hand up, or two actually. So if you can please stand up, introduce yourself, and keep it briefly and to the point. Thank you.
I will indeed. Thank you. My name is Enda Hogan. I'm in the Southern Regional Assembly, so an ERDF managing authority in Ireland. And we're looking at affordable housing now under the midterm review. A question really relating to that bullet point on state aid, about the revision of state aid. Have we any indication of timeline on that? Is it years away or sooner? Thanks.
Yes.
It should be on.
It should be on.
Yeah.
You hear me? So, on the timing, yes, you know that just for those who might be less well informed as you on what we are revising the current state aid rules, concretely the Service of General Economic Interest decision, in order to allow member states to finance with public money projects of affordable housing. Until now, it was possible to do it for social housing, so for the most vulnerable in society. But what it will be allowed when this revision takes place will change is that also affordable housing, so housing for middle-income families that are unable to afford a house at market prices, could also benefit of access to a quality building at in affordable terms. This, to the extent, and this you know very well, to the extent that the regional funds are decentralized management, this is considered state aid, and therefore you need to apply state aid rules. This is why it's so important for you and for us, who depend a lot about the use of regional funds, to make sure that the investments of the state aid rules that will come in future, they match the needs of the managing authorities who want to do something good on affordable housing. The timing that DG.Com has at the moment is to work towards early next year, so a little bit in the same vein as our affordable housing plan, which we have also announced for early 2026. Currently, DG.Com has already launched on the 5th of June a public consultation on the revision of the SGI decision, which should be open, I think, until end of July. And then what they will need to do is basically to prepare a first draft that then they will consult probably with the member states. There's also an important meeting that they want to have with the member states, and many of you, many of the managing authorities might also participate, those responsible also for the link with the state aid, on the 10th of July, here in Brussels, in Borchet. Yeah.
10th of July. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? There's one more. Oh, over there. Yeah. Sorry, she was already... Please introduce yourself again.
I'm Anna Bayomi. I work for FEANT, the Federation of Homeless Service Providers. And first of all, we are very happy that Jorgensen and his cabinet and also the task force is taking up the issue of homelessness. But I work on energy poverty in my organization, so my question will be about the renovation of worst performing buildings. You just mentioned that under the policy objective 2, the renovation of existing buildings will take a priority, and in my work area I witness many current funding streams that are not accessible for low-income households because of the problem of upfront financing. And I would be interested in whether the midterm review or the upcoming new budget will be improved in reaching the lowest income groups with renovations, which was also mentioned as a key issue by at the hearing of the Jorgensen commissioner last year. So that would be my question. And on the, sorry, just one very short comment on the state aid rules, that France is currently providing a lot of social housing, 20% of the housing stock, which is accessible for 60% of the society for under the current state aid rules. So there is still already space for maneuver.
Okay,
yeah.
Not sure that I will be able to reply fully to your question, but I understand that you are asking basically whether there will be more funds or more financing that could also reach the low-income families to do renovation. I don't know, because if you talk about the future, we talk about the next financial perspectives, that's like looking into a crystal ball. If you look at about today, I think the more, I think what we can see is that in these financial perspectives and in the last mandate of the Commissioner of President von der Leyen, we have seen an incredible amount of money going to energy efficiency and buildings renovation, either from the Cohesion Policy or from the ERDF, or including, you know, it's not still functioning, but the future Social Climate Fund. All these will prioritarily go into households, to families. Now, it depends very much, I think, of how you design the national schemes that will channel all these funds into the concrete renovation projects. You can do it very intelligently, giving the good incentives, going straight to the target group, calculating what is the real amount of money that they need in order to meet their objectives. But you can also do it in a way that you do not give the right incentives. You basically allow that there could be misuse of the money, and that the money in the end is easier to be accessible to higher income families. So I think it's very much in your hands when talking about managing authorities to develop this well. And I think that in meetings like here, and I hope that more and more you talk also about social and affordable housing, you can also share best practices regarding how to shape these funds, these programs at national level, not to do the mistakes that others have done in the past and that have not really provide the expected results, as good as it was expected, basically.
Thank you. Well, from talking, you mentioned the word misuse of projects or funding. I have three incredible speakers here for successful stories, so I wanted to bridge that actually. And I would like to ask you, dear gentlemen, to present your project in 2 minutes. I know it's short. And we would like to hear, you know, what's the project about? What are the success stories, lessons learned? And I would like to give the floor to you, Aleš, and here's your clicker. Aleš Mrkela,
Yeah.
from Slovenia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, if it's a good example or not, basically you will hear along the presentation. I didn't want to bother you with any details. So on the left side you have like our main objectives and the main achievements on the right side in principle. So what we actually done is combine the ERDF fund from the cohesion point of view and the national funds plus the climate fund. And we basically oriented on the two stages. One is affordable housing in principle of building the new stock or just renovating something that the Slovenian household fund actually had, and the other part was like tackling the energetical poverty, where you rebuild the stock you have. You have to go from the specific. You have to know what in Slovenia the case is. The case is that a lot of households basically own their apartments or houses, and they were built mostly after the Second World War, so to say, from 50s on, 70s mostly. And the new stock, new apartments, new buildings are usually following the energetical standards, the older ones not. So we channel these into two intermediate institutions. One is Slovenian Household Fund, which has all the public, let's say, apartments, dwellings and so on, which can be used, and they are intended for the affordable housing. And the other part is through Slovenian Eco Fund, which basically deals with energetical poverty, where we tackle specifically the isolation, and you can see it there, to get it more energy efficient. Well, the government in place now also wanted to build quite some more apartments, but this is currently in the process, and most probably we will implicate also the social climate fund also in this area. So to cut it really short.
Yeah, I know it's short. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Can we give him an applause, please? Yes. And up next is a presentation from Kaspar. And Kaspar, you are responsible, or you are working on the EE program on affordable housing. I would say, take the floor.
Yes, thank you. I am the head of housing policy in Estonia, and I can introduce you quickly to our renovation initiatives. Our affordable housing policies and actions are in design at the moment, so I'm not going to. We have roughly around 26,000 apartment buildings that need to be renovated by 2050. I mean, 26,000, of which we think around 16,000 need to be renovated due to areas emptying of residents. But currently, with national financing, we managed to renovate around 10% of those. And through our research with academia, we understand that roughly 30% of all the building stock has been already renovated through private initiatives as well. And we have managed to really build or start this prefabricated element renovation technology and industry in Estonia, and we see a huge potential for export in it. But what we fund in Estonia is only deep renovation. We don't fund small works like heat pumps or just changing your windows, because financial and energy effects only come from deep renovation. But we are trying to diversify the way we finance. At the moment, we have only financed basically apartment building associations, which are all privately owned. But now we want to go more into household-based, so that specific, more vulnerable households in those buildings get extra attention. And we also want to bring in more financing options or financial tools, not just direct grants, but also lending, backing up of loans and stuff like that, so that we can diversify the portfolio in different regions. Yep, and I think that's my time.
Yeah, that's your time. Thank you. Applause, please, for Kaspar from Estonia. And then we are, I would say fly, but that's not very sustainable. We're going to take it to Italy with Riccardo. And Riccardo, do you have the clicker? Do you need the clicker? Yeah.
I need it.
All right,
Yeah.
I would say present your Super Shine project.
Okay. So thanks for the invitation. So my case is, and I go straight to the main slide, is an Horizon Europe project. This project is based on our main goal, which is tackling energy poverty. And we are working with three main lighthouses. And we are working with social housing and affordable housing, both. So social housing in Trieste, affordable housing on Soviet buildings in Riga, Latvia, and in Herning, Denmark, in a rural area. So how we work with this local stakeholder, and then maybe I will have the opportunity to say that we are not working only with our three main lighthouses. Our path is just to follow the three pillars of the new European Bauhaus. So first of all, we want to investigate and apply intervention of energy efficiency in the building. Sometimes we renovate them, sometimes we rebuild from scratch, because, okay, it's to compromise the situation. In Trieste, for instance, so the one you can see in the bottom of my first slide. The second pillar, and this is the beautiful part, you know, so rebuild and give efficiency to the buildings, so increase the living condition of the people. The second one is the sustainability. It's not only environmental sustainability, but in our view, the sustainability is financial. We need to provide tools to the lighthouses, to the building owners, to the tenants, to keep the houses renovated and keep efficient for a long time. And finally, together, we're working together with the local communities, with the tenants, with the local inhabitants, and designing not only the building but the district. So designing the common spaces and find a new way and restoring the sense of belonging to be there and to live in social housing district. So that you can see on the bottom side of our rendering, and we are working together with the local community. So just two more words on financial tools. Just
Go ahead.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are developing different financial tools. So investigating, but on public-private partnership and many different possibilities of have public contract, crowdfunding to support these tools, and finally the one-stop shop. And maybe we'll have the opportunity to say more about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Please give him an applause as well. Riccardo, Coletta, thank you on your project. And I would like to open the floor, and like Mrkela, Nicola, the Mrkelas this morning said, don't hold your breath. So please speak up if you have any questions for our panelists, our projects in this case. Online audience, same thing for you. Who has a question for the three gentlemen? Yes, here in front. Can you please stand up and introduce yourself and also keep it briefly and to the point? Thank you.
Hi, I am Paola Zerilli, University of York. Actually, I'm partner of the Supershine project, but the question was for the DG, also for the funding, but particularly, she has answered me, but perhaps we can talk more later. Riga, my question was, from our experience with our lighthouse district that is in your same country, they have to demonstrate, in order to get the funding, they have to demonstrate that they can reach at least 30% of energy efficiency with the intervention. How do you go around that? How you solve that problem? Do you collaborate with local consultancy or, yeah, just, thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yeah. That one is working? Okay.
Yeah, I can take this from Slovenian point of view. Basically, as you've seen on my slide, there are two institutions plus one network of energy consultants in principle that are energetical offices, so to say. They offer the advice also to the household, to the landlords, to everybody who actually needs it, especially those in vulnerable groups. And they go through the plans and what their intention is to renovate. And with then it is recommended which let's say which call to take and which actions to introduce to reach that minimum energetic efficiency. So we have a network of those spread around the whole Slovenia, so they can really approach the closest office, and they are getting this professional support. And this professional support is also funded from the ERDF in principle, so that this local energetic agency plus this network is sustainable.
Okay, do we have a microphone here? Yeah, for her?
Sorry. It's just connected to what...
Please stand up,
yes.
so the camera can film you as well.
Sorry, guys. It's just connected to what you just said. Surely the regional funds, they are covering most of the interventions, but what about the funding gap? Do they cover because there will be a portion that is not covered. How do you go around that? Sorry.
Well,
you can answer that a little bit quickly.
Yeah, okay.
We can go.
So for those with low income, basically on a social floor, so to say, which is it's basically 100% covered. It's not only from the European funds but also national ones. This is basically how the households are basically sorted from the income they get. So this is one thing, and those that can afford it, then it is spread across the years, so they are covering privately this funding gap. Exactly. For those on a social bottom, so to say, there's a line, it's 100% covered, yeah.
Is that a good answer to your question, mostly?
Can I talk more later during the
Yeah. There's a coffee break after this. Thank you. All right, I'm going to take it back to you, Tatiana. If you just heard these three projects, what are your thoughts or comments from a policy perspective?
It is a little bit what I was replying in one of the questions. I think it's great that you take the time and the occasion of gathering together and discussing about how you build your project, how it was done, to whom, what kind of combination of funds you have used, what were the difficulties that you found, how did you combine social and affordable housing, sometimes in the same block, in order to get also diversity, social diversity, which is a very important value for us. How do you dealt with the state aid, if you have to deal with the state aid, because you also went beyond what is social? I think that this is extremely enriching, and it can, I think, even better than the Commission or whoever else, is to learn from the experiences of someone who has already gone through the process. So thanks a lot for sharing.
That's a great answer. Thank you. Okay. And Riccardo, let's move to your project, Super Shine. We were just talking here before before our session started, and we were talking about that you write proposals, obviously, and my question is actually, and you write in these proposals also about the replication, which is very important with all the cities and the regions, etc. What aspects of the Super Shine project do you believe are replicable in other EU member states, and especially those with different housing stock or regulatory environments?
Yeah, so very nice questions. Yeah, so first of all, we have already in our project the replicability plan, because I mentioned before the 3 main lighthouses. But we have 4 fellow cities across Europe, so in Spain, Portugal, Serbia, and Turkey. And so they already have the opportunity to replicate the results. So the result is it's the overall package. You know, it's something that we can export in any other country, adjusting with of course with the local rules, local funding tools, because we are using local funding together with the Horizon ones. So, but it's not only limited to our 4 fellows, because we are preparing a replication plan open to all the other countries. We are already discussing also with other potential local communities or districts, and yes, so plenty of. So I don't want to mention all of them, because okay, we already went together with Housing Europe, is an big organization of social housing, already in Barcelona or in Dublin a couple of weeks ago. So we already had a lot of contacts, and yeah, we are ready to spread the results, and most of all, you know, the possibility to replicate and to use financial private funding in order to support what the public funding can do in order to improve the living condition of the people for social and affordable housing.
Right, yeah. Replicable, it needs to be, right? To bring everyone along. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So, Kaspar, funding, we've been talking about it. Funding. It's central to today's discussion, and not only to today, but discussion, but the entire day. What role did funding play in your project's implementation? And also, what lessons would you highlight for future EU-supported initiatives? And if you can make it as concise as possible.
Well, I think, first of all, what we do in Estonia, we support the renovation of apartment buildings or buildings that have been constructed before the year 2000. After that, they are already quite high quality in terms of energy efficiency. So before that is what we finance. And there's a high demand for renovation financing in Estonia. The buildings are there that want to, and there's always like, we can, let's say, we do these rounds once a year, we can finance, let's say, 200 buildings, but there's like 500 buildings applying or something like that. So, so what the financing can do, first of all, obviously, is just finance the renovation part of it, 30% to 50%, something like that. But on the other hand, what we can do is also set a level of technical expertise and technical demands for the renovation, so that if the people do the investments and their work is okay with our terms, then they know that they have a good building on their hand, a good product that will save them energy and make this investment financially more feasible for them. So first of all, obviously, making buildings, but two, also setting a standard for renovation.
Right, renovation, very crucial, right, yeah. Aleš, we have been talking already about this morning, communication, bring communities along. How did you involve local communities in the planning and also implementation of your project, and what did you learn from this process?
Well, Slovenia is a pretty centralized country in a way, but still we have, let's say, development in the regions on the map, so to say. And what we did, actually, we are constantly working with our networks on the field, gathering data. So basically from these funds that are also then in charge of application process and so on, this is in principle delegated. So we are gathering the feedback, what's needed, and we try to summarize this in our national system, so to say.
You mentioned network. Sorry to interrupt you. You mentioned network. Who are these people in the networks? What kind of stakeholders are we talking about?
We, as I said, it's energetical council, so to say,
yeah.
And they are basically in charge for the energy, so to say, energy efficiency, so to say. They are professionals in this field, and they are working with people on the ground.
Right.
So they are. There's a two-way process. One is counseling, and the other one is gathering the data, what is in principle needed. So they are in principle the same. Sometimes these are, not sometimes, mostly these are a bit larger institutions. So it's not only one individual, but they have separated tasks. And this feedback we try to channel into our programs then, not to overlap the funds at the end of the day, because you get it from the ERDF, from the Climate Fund, Social Climate Fund, Future will cover also part of it, and this will be an overlap. So from the national point of view, we have to somehow align, and as we analyze these data, always it's, as Riccardo said, Kaspar, basically, there is more applications coming in that we are able to serve with the money that's available. So in reality, you have to, at the end of the day, also prioritize.
Right, prioritization, yeah. And Kaspar, how's that for you? How do you engage or involve local communities in the planning? And then I'm going to ask the same question for you, Riccardo, later. How do you do that in Estonia? How do you engage with the local communities?
In terms of renovation, it's mostly working with local governments and seeing which one are interested in designing their housing policy and making effort in renovation or improving their citizens' terms of living or conditions. Some of them are very interested. Some of them can see the potential in EU-funded projects to involve some financing and do support their people. Others, maybe they're not so interested. So we tend to work with those who are interested, and we don't have really any tools to make the other local governments put an effort into housing policy if they don't want to do that.
Right, so there's no push here, no push strategy, right?
Yeah. No.
Exactly, yeah. And Riccardo, how's that for you? How do you engage with the local communities when it comes to the planning and implementation?
Yes, for us, for the Supershine project, it's really one of the key points, because we have to think that we are dealing with people living in social housing districts, so probably we just very low trust in what you are bringing, because they have few, and they don't trust you coming from a research center or a central administration going there and promising something. You know, you have to be very reliable, so have clear objectives and involve them. So our decision was to involve also local communities, local organizations, supporting us in working with the people, but not only informing them or making awareness campaign. We have co-created the plan with them, so collecting the information, but on the plan directly, so they have the opportunity to write directly on our plan or our plan of the district and saying, okay, I need to have this here in this public area, or I need that, you know, the shape of the building, the color, whatever, you know, it's going to be like that. And we have to follow them, you know, and when I was talking before, you know, about this restoring sense of belonging, it passed also through these passages, because they have to be involved, they have to feel at home, and they have to be proud to be there.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that, the sense of belonging. I would like to open the floor for you. Any questions from our audience? I see a hand from our online audience. Is this correct?
Yeah.
And this is a question for a specific person?
We have
or?
2 questions. I think they're best targeted at Tatiana. The first is, are there any intentions to address the housing crisis through steering population distribution, such as stimulating the population of rural or semi-rural areas versus big cities? And then the second one that just came in as well is about multi-residential buildings, and if these can be energy and water producers and thus even more affordable for inhabitants, and potentially then a priority for EU funding. If you have responses to either or both of these questions, that would be great.
Sorry, I didn't get the second one.
It was about multi-residential buildings, and if these, the fact that they can be energy and water producers, and then making them more affordable for inhabitants, maybe a potential priority area.
So for the first one, the purpose, I think, of the task force is not to try to move people around from one area to another. People should know where they want to live. And what we are trying to achieve is to provide affordable, decent, and sustainable housing to people to live in the area they wish to live. What we are trying to fight against is that people are basically moved out of, for instance, big cities or touristic cities because they live there, they work there, but they don't find affordable housing there. And they sometimes need to do many long hours of commuting to get to the place where they work. So this is more our focus, not so much I think it's probably, it goes beyond us and what we try, our objective in the task force. It's more something probably for the cohesion policy and, you know, deciding what is sustainable as how big the cities should be, or what additional services you should have in rural areas, for instance. Now, we are indeed looking at, for instance, how we could promote certain type of urban transport to allow people to live around the city or around the city center, and then be able to go to the center where they sometimes work at faster, with faster time periods. That, yes, but not going beyond that. On the multi-residential buildings, I think that we don't have such priority of focusing on water and energy producers in the Cohesion Fund regulation. It's not the way that that it has been designed. But certainly, I think that once again, a member state might design its program in a way that they want to prioritize such type of buildings because maybe this is what they have most. If I talk about the country I know best, for instance, Spain, most houses in the cities are of this type, multi-residentials. And they all have the possibility, because we have a very sunny country, to have, for instance, solar panels in all the roofs. It's relatively easy. And the member state, the government has decided indeed that all new buildings of certain characteristics, they have to have solar panels by default, when new buildings I'm talking about. So I don't think that we are looking at this, at prioritizing this type of buildings at the EU level, but it's something that the member state can do.
All right, thank you, Tatiana. Thank you for the questions. To the gentleman, I actually have a question for all of you, and this is based on the woman that sits here. Based on your experience, what would be your suggestion for improving how the EU supports the transition to affordable and energy-efficient housing? Aleš, would you like to start? No pressure.
Well,
Yeah.
This is very hard, because it's always subjective opinion. I see that initially what Tiana said, basically that quite a lot of money is wasted or misused in this aspect. Yeah, this is something. All non-used, yeah, but we are more or less connected to this, what is misused, which we don't like to see. So in reality, the co-financing rates in principle help a lot, which shall be sufficiently high, especially for the low-income people. And then getting to zero emission, which means totally efficient housing, which could be given the priority. So that the second question, in reality, it's something in which direction, I guess, we will have to move to also get to this affordability, because the energy will be costly for a couple of years still. And one thing we may not forget, it has to be place-based, because if you go too much far from the city, then you just change this energetical poverty for the transportation poverty, which you have to find a fine balance where it's worth it, not actually for everybody with the same financing rates.
Thank you. And how's that for you, Kaspar? So when I would ask you, what would be your suggestion for improving how the EU supports the transition?
Well, first, before I start making any suggestions, I would actually wait for results of the work of the task force. I think, first of all, the state rules review, that is excellent thing you are starting with. But at the same time, anybody working on it, there's a very good consulting tool and team in EIB that we are actually working with. So I think these types of tools, and especially I would say towards Eastern Europe, who are very privatized and don't have a public housing sector, how to start with public housing sector, how to build it, how to create it. These types of maybe support and technical support is very necessary. So I think there's a lot there already. We just need to work with it.
To work with it, okay. Riccardo?
Okay. But, well, first of all, we don't have to expect that funding coming from the Commission or from other EU funding sources can solve all the problems, of course, but it helps a lot in setting the path to be followed. And what we are doing with Horizon Europe, but it's something, you know, we can easily apply to any other EU funding, just to start giving concrete examples of what it's really feasible, you know, and combining the EU funding with other national ones is exactly what we have done in Denmark, for instance, or in Trieste. And it's the way, because then once you implemented the good solutions and you prove that it's feasible and it works, and maybe you provide some increase of value all the building. We are talking about building, and social housing, so increase of value for tenants or for inhabitants. Then probably these examples will have a high rate of replicability, not only in the area but also in a wider view. So yeah. That's my view.
So, any final thoughts on your end to hear this? Because we have 5 more minutes left.
It's always a little bit the same when we come to this type of conference and we confront with those who are there working on the ground. What great expectations you have, guys, on the Commission, on the next funding, on the action plan we are working on. I mean, it's a little bit daring, I would say, but at the same time, it's super encouraging that you recognize that this is an issue and that we should be concentrated on this. And therefore, we will put all our efforts, and we are very much looking forward to listening to you in this conference, but also more broadly, a part of the state aid public consultation I mentioned. I should also say that we have a more general public consultation on affordable and social housing that we want to launch on the Commission website. And we will try to do enough communication around also to the networks and through DG Regio so that you all can participate as from the end of June. And there you will have all the summer to reply to our questions if you want on different aspects. So what kind of houses we want, how they should look like, what kind of priorities we should be giving. Should we earmark, funds or specific policies or establish specific targets for social housing so that the affordable housing does not eat, all the money and attention available up there? What about state aid, although there's this public consultation in parallel? What about homelessness? How do you deal with that? What should be done at EU level? Issues like tenants' rights, should we protect them more or not? So all these issues are part of the consultation, and it's particularly useful to hear from experiences like yours. What, in your view, you think the Commission and the EU in general should concentrate more in the housing sector? Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah. We have 2.5 minutes left. So I thought, why don't you just give, let's say, 3 actions in 30 seconds each to our audience. What can they do or what can they learn from you? To conclude, who wants to begin? Riccardo? 2 concrete actions, take action tomorrow, since this is a community for practice, and the working groups, they love taking action. We're all taking action. So what are 3 concrete actions?
Okay, so I'll take
30
time
seconds.
Yeah, just 1 sentence. So the first one is just involve the people as much as you can. And the second one, look and search for funding your ideas. And there are many possibilities, and just look at what the financial research is doing in not only in our project.
Okay, thank you. Aleš. Oh no, Kaspar, I'm sorry.
From Estonian experience, I always say this: what can a person do if you are a member of apartment owner association? Please participate in your association as much as possible and let them know what you think and what you need, and make the association work.
Okay, good one. Yeah. Aleš?
Well, what I'd say, first thing for everybody, not intended just to the public, for everybody, do measure your energy that you are using. That's one thing, because without data you won't know anything what's worth doing at all. And sometimes it's not the electricity or energy as such. It could be water or I don't know. So do measure it and then get counsel if you don't have it there, if you don't have this capacity, and then react, because then you will have, let's say, efficient solution. The way that Riccardo said, like, you will come to the end either to tear down something or rebuild it, and this has to be done on your measurement.
That has to be done. Take action. Last words, 30 seconds from Tatiana.
Well, I already said one.
Action.
Share your good practices. You are already doing it today. Second, check the other projects that you have in the drawer, lack of financing, and present them to whoever is responsible in your administrations to convince them to do every programming using the opportunity of the midterm review. We are here to help you also, so contact us in parallel if you need help. And third, participate in the public consultations ongoing. Thanks.
Right. Thank you so much. Can I have an applause for our speakers, please? Thank you, speakers. And it's time now for a coffee break, and I would kindly ask you to be back here. We're running a little bit late, so I think I ask you to be back here in half an hour, and you'll hear the bell ring for our last panel discussion, and then we have closing remarks of DG Regio. Enjoy, stretch your legs, and see you back here in half an hour. Thank you.